My rich ex thought I was nothing, then saw my face on Forbes. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. You're never going to make it. You know that, right? Her voice rang in my ears, crisp and cold as the winter air slipping through the cracked window. I can still see Marissa standing in her marble-floored kitchen, her family's kitchen, not ours. Arms folded, lips twisted into that half-smirk she wore whenever she wanted to cut me down to size. This, whatever you're trying to build, it's not real. You don't belong with people like us. You'll always be just a dreamer. And I can't waste any more time on a dream that'll never come true. The words stung so much I almost laughed. You're dumping me because I'm not rich enough for you. She didn't even blink. I'm tired of pretending, Josh. My father's right. You'll never be in my league. She glanced at her phone. No tears, just impatience. Honestly, I thought you'd take the hint months ago. Good luck, though. Maybe you'll surprise us all and end up in Forbes one day. The sarcasm burned. She didn't even see me leave. I spent that night in my freezing apartment, her words ricocheting around the bare walls. No money, no job offers, no Marissa. Just the endless blue light of my laptop and the taunting echo of her laugh. For weeks, I spiraled. I ate ramen and doubt for breakfast. Each job rejection landed like a punch. I could barely get out of bed. My friends disappeared, except for Leo, who shoved a coffee into my hands every morning and forced me to pitch ideas for the startup I kept threatening to launch. Prove her wrong, he said. Not for her. For you. It took years of missed birthdays, dead ends, hustling from dawn to dusk. But that day finally came. The morning I opened my inbox and nearly dropped my phone. Congratulations, Josh Klein, Forbes 30 Under 30. Your story will be featured on the March cover. And hours later, as my phone blew up, so did hers. Marissa's face, shocked, pale, lit up my screen in a viral clip. She'd just seen my face on Forbes. And that was only the beginning of my revenge, or maybe something even better. The day my Forbes cover dropped, the world felt upside down. My inbox overflowed, old college friends, investors I'd once begged for a minute, even my high school teachers. All suddenly wanted a piece of my time. My mom cried on the phone, voice thick with pride. See? I always knew you could do it. Leo showed up at my door with champagne, whooping so loud he woke the neighbors. But nothing compared to the flood of DMs from people I'd barely spoken to in years, including Marissa. Her first message was short. Congratulations. Wow. I almost deleted it. But then came the group chats. Screenshots of Marissa's reaction, caught on camera at a brunch, mouth open, mimosa half raised, as someone scrolled to my face on Forbes. The clip went viral. Her friends laughed. One even said, "Didn't you used to date that guy?" Marissa's smile froze, and for the first time, she looked small. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt complicated. For years, I dreamed of this moment, proving her family, all their country club crowd wrong. But watching her reaction replayed online, I felt more hollow than vindicated. Still, the world wanted a show. Journalists called, asking for details of my rags to riches story. A business podcast wanted a dramatic retelling of my lowest point, how I'd overcome heartbreak and humiliation. Marissa's friends started following me on Instagram, commenting on every post. That night, I got another message from Marissa. I'd love to catch up sometime. For old time's sake. Leo saw the notification and grinned. Here comes your full circle moment. What are you going to do? I stared at her name, my old wounds throbbing with every word. Part of me wanted to reply, to rub it in. But another part whispered, don't let her rewrite history. Then, out of nowhere, I got an anonymous email. Subject, she's not done with you yet. And suddenly, I realized Marissa's game might not be over at all. The anonymous email haunted me. I read it a dozen times, searching for clues. Was it a prank or a warning? There was no signature, just a single line beneath the subject. She wants something. Be careful. I could almost hear Marissa's voice in the words, sweet, then sharp. Part of me wanted to ignore it. But late that night, after my phone finally stopped buzzing, curiosity got the better of me. I scrolled through her Instagram, watching as she posted an old photo of us, captioned only, "Time will tell." The comments flooded in, her friends gossiping, strangers asking if we'd gotten back together. I remembered how Marissa loved an audience. This time, it seemed, She wanted a comeback story as badly as I wanted closure. The next day, Marissa texted again. I really mean it. Can we meet? I have something to tell you. Please. Leo was skeptical. She's playing you. Don't let her back in just because you're on a roll. But I needed answers. I agreed to coffee at a trendy spot downtown, the kind of place Marissa used to sneer at. She arrived late, as always, wrapped in designer clothes, smile brittle but practiced. You look good, Josh, she said, eyes scanning me for weaknesses. It's crazy seeing you like this. I kept my guard up. So what did you want to tell me? She leaned in, lowering her voice. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have listened to my parents. I miss you. Maybe we could start over? I almost laughed. You didn't miss me when you left. You made it clear I was nothing. She flinched, but recovered quickly. People change. I'm sorry, okay? I was stupid. As I stared at her, trying to see if there was any sincerity left, her phone buzzed. She glanced down and her face went white. Without a word, she grabbed her purse and bolted for the door. On her abandoned phone, a text popped up on the lock screen. Did you tell him the truth? I stared at Marissa's phone as she vanished through the cafe door, the unfinished cappuccino still steaming across from me. My heart hammered. For a split second, I considered running after her. But the message on her lock screen was still visible. Did you tell him the truth? I shouldn't have touched it. But after everything, her lies, the humiliation, I couldn't walk away. The phone was unlocked. My hands shook as I opened the message thread. It was from someone named S. You need to tell Josh everything. If you don't, I will. You owe him at least that much. Don't be a coward. Other messages scrolled up, frantic, desperate. He's going to find out sooner or later. I warned you. My pulse raced. Was this about me? Or something deeper? I scrolled quickly, careful not to attract attention. There were more messages, all pressuring Marissa to come clean. About what? Just then, my phone buzzed. Leo again. You still at the cafe? Everything okay? I pocketed Marissa's phone, left a bill on the table, and hurried outside. The cold air hit me like a slap. Marissa was gone. No sign of her down the street. I called Leo, my voice low. She left her phone. There's something she's hiding. Someone wants her to tell me the truth. Don't do anything stupid, he said. Bring it back to my place. We'll figure it out. But as I walked to Leo's, the phone buzzed in my pocket again. A new message flashed on the screen, this time with an address and a single word. Tonight. Whatever secret Marissa had been running from, it was about to catch up with both of us. I barely made it through the afternoon, nerves jangling every time Marissa's phone buzzed in my pocket. Leo met me at his door, brow furrowed. You brought her phone? Man, this is getting wild even for you. We sat in his kitchen, scrolling through more messages. They all circled the same warning. Someone close to Marissa wanted me to know something, and they weren't waiting for her permission anymore. My mind ran wild with possibilities. Was she sick? In trouble? Or was it another scheme, something to drag me back into her orbit? At exactly 7 o'clock, Marissa's phone chimed again. Same number, same cold urgency. You have one chance. 8 p.m. Come alone. 37th and Madison. Bring her phone. Leo frowned. That's a weird spot. Just offices and construction at night. I hesitated, every instinct screaming this was a bad idea. But I'd built my new life by running toward fear, not from it. If I don't go, I'll always wonder. I have to know. Leo clapped me on the shoulder. I'll wait outside, just in case. The city lights blurred as I walked toward the address, the weight of old heartbreak and new suspicion pressing on my chest. I arrived a few minutes early. The street was mostly empty, shadows pooling between silent glass towers. Then, from the far end, a figure stepped into the glow of a street lamp. Marissa, coat pulled tight, eyes wide and haunted. She saw the phone in my hand and winced. You weren't supposed to see those messages. I want the truth, Marissa. All of it. She glanced over her shoulder, voice barely more than a whisper. I never meant to hurt you. But there are things you don't know. Things that could ruin everything for both of us. Just then, a car slowed at the curb. A woman in her 40s stepped out, her face hard and determined. She looked straight at me. I'm the one who messaged you, and I'm here to tell you what Marissa never will. The woman's presence was like a cold wind in the empty street. Marissa shrank back as she approached, her eyes darting between us. I tightened my grip on the phone. Who are you? I asked, trying to sound braver than I felt. She held her gaze steady. My name is Stephanie. I'm Marissa's aunt. And, believe it or not, your biggest supporter. I've watched you fight your way up. But there's something you deserve to know, and it's about Marissa. About why she really left. Marissa shook her head. Don't do this, please. Stephanie ignored her. Your relationship was never just between you two. Her parents controlled everything. Her money, her choices, her future. When she broke up with you, it wasn't because you weren't enough. It was because they threatened her. My mind reeled. Threatened her how? Stephanie's jaw tightened. Her father made her believe that if she didn't end things, he'd cut her off, ruin your career prospects, even drag your name through the mud. He's done it before. He's ruthless, and he hated seeing Marissa with someone who wasn't their kind. Marissa's eyes brimmed with tears. I tried to protect you, Josh, but I should have told you the truth. Stephanie turned to me. She never stopped loving you. She followed your journey, cheered for you in secret. She even tried to get your startup funded once, through a friend, but she was too scared to reach out. The words were dizzying, anger and longing battling inside me. Years of bitterness suddenly twisted into confusion and grief. So everything you said that night. Marissa wiped her face, voice trembling. I was trying to make you hate me, so you wouldn't get hurt. But I've been hurting ever since. Just then, Stephanie's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and paled. We don't have much time. Her father knows you're here. He's on his way. I stared at Marissa, heart pounding with new questions. Was I about to lose everything I'd built, all over again? Or was this my chance to finally reclaim the truth? Stephanie's warning sent a chill through me. Marissa hugged her coat tighter, glancing nervously at the corner. The street, moments ago deserted, now felt like a trap closing in. I turned to Marissa. If you were protecting me, why not just tell me everything yourself? She looked at her aunt, then at me, voice trembling. You have no idea how powerful my father is, Josh. He controls everything. He's not just rich, he has friends in the media, the city, even the police. He always said, I built this world. I can break anyone in it. After we broke up, he made sure I stayed quiet. He made me believe you'd lose everything if you stayed with me. Stephanie put a steadying hand on her niece's shoulder. That's why I reached out. I won't let him hurt you or Josh again. Just then, a black SUV turned the corner, headlights slicing through the night. Marissa's face went pale. That's his driver. We have to go. My instincts screamed to run, but Stephanie grabbed my arm. No, you have to stand your ground. If you run now, he'll always have this power over you. He needs to see you're not afraid anymore. I could see the figure inside the SUV, a shadow, unmoving, watching. I took a shaky breath and turned toward the vehicle, willing myself not to flinch. Marissa trembled beside me. Please, Josh, don't do anything stupid. He's not above destroying your reputation, or mine. The SUV idled, engine rumbling. Then the rear window rolled down. Marissa's father stared at us, his face hard as granite. So, this is the boy who thinks he's made something of himself, he sneered. Enjoy your little moment. Because if you don't walk away from my daughter tonight, I'll make sure Forbes writes your downfall next. His threat hung in the air, thick with menace. But for the first time, I didn't back down. I'm not running, I said, voice steady. Not from you. Not anymore. He glared at me, then looked to Marissa. You know the deal. Come home. Now. Marissa looked between her father and me, her whole future in the balance. And the next words out of her mouth would change everything. Marissa's eyes flicked between her father's glare and my face. Caught between the world she'd always known and the one she might finally choose. The silence was suffocating, the city's noise fading under the weight of her decision. Her father's voice cut through the tension. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Marissa. Come home. You've embarrassed this family enough. For a long, trembling moment, she didn't move. Her hands balled into fists. I could see the fear in her eyes, but I also saw something new, a flicker of resolve. No, she said quietly, then louder. No, I'm done letting you control my life. The words seemed to stun him. His jaw clenched, anger radiating from every line in his face. You think you'll survive without my help? You think you will? Stephanie stepped forward, shielding Marissa. She doesn't need your permission to live her own life. Neither does Josh. Marissa swallowed hard and took my hand. I've lost too much already, Dad. I won't lose myself, too. Her father's face twisted with rage, but he didn't yell. Instead, his words turned ice cold. You have no idea what you've just done. You're on your own now, both of you. Don't come running back when the world turns on you. With that, the SUV's window rolled up. The car lingered for a second, then pulled away, leaving the three of us under the harsh glare of the streetlights. Marissa collapsed against me, shaking. He'll try to ruin us. I know he will. Stephanie squeezed her shoulder. Let him try. You've got more support than you think. But as the adrenaline faded, the reality hit me. I was up against a man with the power to destroy everything I'd built, and he knew exactly where to strike. That night, as we walked away together, my phone buzzed with a news alert, a scandal breaking about my company, and I knew exactly who was behind it. By the time I got home, my phone was exploding. News outlets, blogs, and industry forums were buzzing with the same headline. Forbes wunderkind accused of fraud? Anonymous sources, old emails twisted out of context, supposed insider leaks. It was a hit job, and it had Marissa's father's fingerprints all over it. Leo called, his voice panicked. Man, this is everywhere. What happened? Are you okay? I tried to sound calm. I'm fine. It's a setup. Marissa's dad warned me he'd come after me if I didn't let her go. He swore under his breath. People are eating it up. Your investors are already asking questions. Marissa and Stephanie were with me, both pale and tense. I'm so sorry, Josh, Marissa whispered, voice shaking. This is my fault. He'll stop at nothing. I shook my head. No, it's not your fault. It's his. And I'm not going down without a fight. We spent the night gathering evidence. Old emails, contracts, every scrap that proved my business was legitimate. Stephanie called a lawyer she trusted, someone with experience going up against powerful men. He's ruthless, but not untouchable, she said. If we stay ahead of his lies, we can beat him. But the damage was spreading. Sponsors backed out. 2 major clients put deals on hold. My inbox filled with reporters wanting a comment. Online, strangers dissected my life, debating whether I was a genius or a scammer. Through it all, Marissa never left my side. Whatever happens, I'm here, she said quietly, her fingers laced through mine. I'm done hiding. By morning, I was exhausted, hollowed out by fear and anger, but more determined than ever. And then an anonymous message hit my inbox. You want the truth to win? Meet me tomorrow. I have the proof to take him down, for good. Suddenly, the war was no longer just about surviving. It was about exposing everything, and finally, truly, being free. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, headlines and hateful comments flashed behind my lids. The promise of proof gnawed at me. Was it a trap, or the break I desperately needed? The next day, I followed the instructions in the email to a tiny bakery across town. Leo insisted on coming, lurking at a back table in case things went sideways. Marissa texted updates from home, anxious but hopeful. A few minutes past noon, a nervous man in his 50s approached my table, glancing around before sitting. You don't know me, he said quietly, but I worked for Marissa's father for almost 20 years. I know what he's done to people like you, and worse. He slid a battered folder across the table. This is everything. Documents, bank transfers, correspondence, proof he orchestrated the campaign against you, and more. He's ruined lives before, but never someone with your kind of spotlight. My hands trembled as I opened the folder. Emails instructing PR firms to leak false stories. Bank records tied to shell companies, payments for influence. Photos of secret meetings, even screenshots of bribes paid to city officials. Why now? I asked, barely above a whisper. He looked away, ashamed. My conscience can't take it anymore. I lost a son to one of his schemes. I couldn't save him, but maybe I can help you. I thanked him, promising to protect his identity. Leo snapped photos of every page. We left the bakery with enough ammo to blow the story wide open. Back home, Stephanie connected us with a top investigative reporter, someone fearless, with a history of exposing the city's worst. I handed over the folder, my heart pounding with dread and hope. As the reporter drove off, Marissa took my hand. Are you sure? Once this goes public, there's no going back. I nodded, jaw set. I've been running long enough. It's time he answers for everything. Just as we sat down to breathe, my phone buzzed again, this time with a private number. I picked up, expecting more threats. Instead, a woman's voice whispered, "Be careful. He's more dangerous than you think. He's not done yet. And in that moment, I knew the real fight was just beginning. The article dropped like a bomb. By noon, every news feed was filled with headlines. Power broker exposed. Billionaire's dirty war on Forbes' rising star. The investigative reporter pulled no punches, laying out every detail. The smear campaign, the bribes, the history of threats. My inbox exploded again, but this time it was reporters, investors, and even strangers offering support. For the first time, Marissa's father was on the defensive. He issued a cold, carefully worded statement denying everything. His lawyers threatened to sue. A few TV personalities tried to spin the story, but public opinion was already swinging in my favor. Still, the days that followed were brutal. Paparazzi camped outside my building. Trolls and bots swarmed my social media, some demanding the truth, others accusing me of orchestrating it all for attention. Some sponsors were slow to return. My board called emergency meetings, worried about brand risk. Leo and Stephanie kept me grounded. "You wanted your name in lights," Leo joked, pouring me a coffee at 2 a.m. Just didn't say it'd be a searchlight. Marissa barely slept, torn between hope and dread. "He'll try something else," she warned, eyes haunted. "He always does." She was right. Just as things started to calm, my lawyer called. "We have a new problem. Someone broke into your office. Documents missing, computers wiped. Looks like they were after evidence. And the press already knows." I slammed my fist against the table, frustration boiling over. He's losing control. He's getting desperate. The next day, I got a private message. No sender, no signature, just a single attachment. A video clip of Marissa's father, in a smoky back room, saying, "No one crosses me," and walks away. Not my daughter. Not that little upstart. It was proof of everything. But if I used it, Marissa might be in even more danger. And as I stared at the screen, I realized winning would mean risking everything and everyone I cared about. The video was damning. Marissa's father, caught on tape, seething threats against both of us. My first instinct was to send it straight to the reporter. Let the world see the monster behind the mask. But Marissa stopped me, her voice trembling. "If that goes public, he'll come for me harder than ever. You don't know what he's capable of, Josh." I hesitated. Was I about to win a war only to lose the person I'd fought so hard to protect? Leo weighed in. "I'm serious for once. You have the upper hand now. You can bargain. Make him back off, for good. Just don't put Marissa in the crosshairs." Stephanie, ever the voice of reason, agreed. "Leverage it. End this quietly. True victory isn't public destruction, it's freedom." So we set up a meeting. Neutral ground. Just me, Marissa, her father, and his lawyer. The tension was suffocating as I slid a copy of the video across the table. He watched it, jaw clenched, face like stone. "You want to fight?" he sneered. "You think you can win?" I met his gaze, calm and steady. "I don't want to fight. I want you to leave us alone. Publicly clear my name, drop every accusation, and let Marissa live her life. Or I release everything. The recordings, the documents, the video. And you'll lose a lot more than just reputation." He stared at me, cold calculation in his eyes. For the first time, I saw fear flicker there. Finally, he nodded. "Fine. But if any of this leaks..." "It won't," I interrupted. "Not if you keep your word." The next week, he went on record retracting his claims, admitting to misguided personal actions, and urging the media to back off. Deals reopened. The smear campaign fizzled. For the first time, my name, and Marissa's, were our own again. But the scars lingered. Even in victory, I wondered what peace would really look like. Then, one night, Marissa turned to me and asked, "Now that we're free, what do you want next?" And suddenly, I realized that true success wasn't about beating anyone. It was about building the life I chose, on my own terms. The silence that followed was strange and raw, a world without threats, lawsuits, or breaking news. I half expected another ambush at every turn, but it never came. Marissa's father kept his distance. The story faded, replaced by fresher scandals in the news cycle. For the first time, my days belonged to me again. My company, battered but intact, slowly rebuilt. Investors came back, more cautious but curious. Leo celebrated every small win, reminding me that survival was the first victory. Growth would come next. Marissa and I tried to find our footing. We met for long walks at dusk, talking about everything and nothing, no cameras trailing us. She spoke about dreams she'd never voiced, starting her own business, moving out of her family's shadow for good. I realized how much I'd only seen her as the girl who hurt me, not the woman fighting her own battles. We both had scars, some visible, some hidden. The trust wasn't instant, but it was real, stitched together with honesty neither of us had before. One night, on the rooftop above my apartment, Marissa turned to me, her eyes fierce and vulnerable. "I don't want to be your second chance or your revenge story. If we try again, it has to be as equals. Partners." I nodded, the city lights below feeling less like a prize and more like possibility. No more proving anything to anyone, not even ourselves. Just living. Stephanie visited, beaming with relief. "You too survived hell. Make sure you actually enjoy the peace you've earned." But old habits died hard. I still checked the news, still looked over my shoulder some mornings. The past has a way of echoing, no matter how far you run. Then, one afternoon, my lawyer called. "You're being considered for Entrepreneur of the Year. Forbes wants a cover story. This time, it's not about what you survived. It's about what you're building." I hung up and turned to Marissa, a smile breaking through. "Want to help me write a better headline this time?" And for the first time, it felt like the future was finally ours to define, together. The Forbes team came to the office, cameras and notepads in hand. But this time I was ready. There was no hunger to prove myself to Marissa's family, no bitterness driving every answer. I spoke honestly about the struggle, about rebuilding trust with investors and staff, about what I learned from losing everything. The reporter asked about the viral drama, Marissa, her father, the scandal. I didn't dodge it, but I didn't let it define me either. "That chapter was painful," I said, "but it taught me who I am. The story now is about growth, about building something meaningful and leaving bitterness behind." Marissa joined for part of the interview, poised and strong. She spoke about her own startup, her journey out of the shadows. "We both had to learn to let go of anger to move forward," she said. "You can't build a future looking backward." The article was different this time. No tabloid headlines, no clickbait scandal. Just two people, scarred but hopeful, creating something new. It was the first piece about me that felt real. That week, we celebrated with friends, Leo, Stephanie, our team, on the rooftop, watching the city glitter. There were no hidden cameras, no lurking paparazzi. Just laughter, stories, and peace. Even my parents showed up, prouder than I'd ever seen. Before the night ended, I stood alone for a moment, staring at the skyline. The old ache of wanting revenge was gone, replaced by gratitude for my freedom, my work, and the people who stuck by me. I finally saw myself not as a victim or a scrappy underdog, but as a builder, a survivor, and a partner. When Marissa slipped her hand into mine, she smiled. "You ever think about what your exes will say when they see this?" I laughed. "I hope they see I finally figured out what matters." But as the first stars appeared, a call came in. Forbes, wanting one last quote for the story. "What should we call this chapter?" the reporter asked. I looked at Marissa, then at the city, and finally answered, "Call it a beginning." The Forbes issue arrived on a bright morning, crisp and new, my face on the cover again, this time without any bitterness in the headline. The story inside was honest, not just about money or revenge, but about healing, growth, and choosing your own story when others want to write it for you. I read it on the balcony, Marissa curled up beside me, coffee warming her hands. The world outside moved on, as worlds always do, but my life was finally, quietly, my own. Leo called to congratulate me, joking about Forbes Part 2, the redemption, and I laughed for real. No edge, no hurt. For the first time in years, I didn't care who else was watching. I felt proud, not for what I'd survived, but for who I'd become. The anger was gone. The pressure to prove myself, gone. The ghosts of Marissa's father and the old world he'd built, finally losing their power. Marissa looked up at me, her eyes clear. "Do you regret any of it?" I thought of the pain, the long nights, the near misses, and the loss. But I also thought of Stephanie's courage, Leo's loyalty, and the way Marissa and I had grown, not despite the mess, but because of it. "No," I said, smiling softly. "I wouldn't change a thing. Even the worst days brought me here." She squeezed my hand. "What now?" "Now," I said, "we build something no one can take away. Together, the phone chimed with new opportunities, speaking offers, partnership requests, investors eager to be part of the next chapter. But for once, I wasn't chasing anything or anyone. I was home, inside my own story. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's living so well, they become irrelevant. And sometimes, the best ending is a new beginning.